of left lanes for some time now. Sunshine 80 for the high, 69 for the low tonight. Just a slight chance of some afternoon showers. That's going up to 70% chance. Tomorrow we're going to get wet. Upper 70s for the high, 48% chance. For Saturday, we're sitting at 72 degrees right now. Listen anywhere. We're streaming live online at HoustonPublicMedia.org, on our app as well. News updated 24/7. If you've given already, we appreciate it. If not, go in. Just takes a couple of minutes. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate. KUHF Houston, News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston, 901.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. President Trump is warning he'll keep the U.S. military station in the Mideast until Iran fully complies with this week's truce. The shaky ceasefire comes as Israel continues to attack Hezbollah militants in Lebanon. Iran has insisted the ceasefire applies to Lebanon. Both Israel and the U.S. reject this. NPR's Lauren Freya reports from Beirut. Lebanese officials say 250 people were killed yesterday in Israeli attacks.
Church bells have tolled across Beirut on this National Day of Mourning. Even as warplanes still tear across the sky, people are still missing, still under the rubble. I heard more booms overnight. Israel says it hit another bridge in southern Lebanon after that wave of attacks yesterday, in which Israel says it hit Beirut 100 times in 10 minutes, killing the nephew of Hezbollah's leader. Hezbollah, for its part, held its fire yesterday, says it viewed the ceasefire as including Lebanon, but today says it has fired rockets into northern Israel and air raid sirens have gone off there.
NPR's Lauren Freya reporting. Meanwhile, Pakistan is getting ready to host talks this weekend between Iranian and U.S. officials. The White House says Vice President Vance will lead the delegation. Stocks opened lower this morning as gas prices hold steady. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped more than 30 points in early trading.
Crude oil prices rose as a fragile ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran failed to provide much relief for bottleneck tanker traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. AAA says retail gasoline prices showed little change overnight, hovering around $4.16 a gallon. Diesel prices rose about 2 cents a gallon. High gasoline prices are expected to push the government's cost of living measure up when March inflation numbers are released tomorrow. Even before the war, prices were climbing faster than the Federal Reserve would like. The Commerce Department says the U.S. economy grew more slowly in the final months of 2025 than earlier reports had indicated. A final tally says GDP grew at an annual rate of just 0.5% in October, November, and December. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
Voters are continuing to swing their support toward Democrats in races held since the 2024 presidential election. That includes contests this week in Wisconsin and Georgia. NPR's Stephen Fowler has this analysis.
President Trump won Wisconsin by less than 1% in 2024, but this week the Liberal candidate flipped a state Supreme Court seat and won by more than 20%. In Georgia's 14th congressional district, where Marjorie Taylor Greene won by a 30-point margin in 2024, the Republican replacing her won by just 12%. It's not just special and off-year elections with lower turnout where Democratic candidates are doing better. Polling also finds more voters say they prefer Democrats to control Congress in November, and Democratic voters have higher enthusiasm for voting in the midterms. Stephen Fowler, NPR News, Atlanta.
You're listening to NPR News from Washington.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Luminescence Foundation. Luminescence Foundation is dedicated to shedding light on neurological research focused on Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases and supporting land conservation initiatives. This is NPR.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Jack Williams. Houston ISD's Board of Managers will consider approval of a reduction of force, which would allow school administrators to cut or reassign hundreds of teaching positions and central office jobs. News 88.7's Bianca Seward breaks down what it could mean for the district and its more than 20,000 employees.
The district last had a reduction of force just 2 years ago. It can be an aggressive step often used to close budget gaps, and it's a fast way to reduce costs. A former superintendent from a neighboring district tells Houston Public Media roughly 80% of a school system's budget typically goes toward personnel. HISD has suffered steady enrollment declines for years. Fewer students means less money from the state, which has cost the district millions in funding. If passed, it would mark the second major workforce shakeup in less than a year. Last fall, HISD cut or reassigned 450 employees. I'm Bianca Seward, News 88.7.
The Artemis II crew held a press conference from deep space last night, sharing thoughts about the mission, their findings, and what's next for them. Astronaut Christina Cook says their goal is to pass the baton to the next mission, literally.
This is a relay race. In fact, we have batons that we bought to symbolize physically that. We plan to hand them to the next crew, and every single thing that we do is with them in mind.
The crew is expected to splash down in the Pacific Ocean tomorrow evening. Earlier this week, the crew performed a flyby of the moon. And 2 men are in the hospital today after getting shot during an attempted robbery inside a nightclub on Kirby Drive last night. One man is in his late 20s, the other in his mid-20s. Both men were transported to the hospital in critical condition. The shootings happened at the Confessions nightclub at Kirby and Richmond. Astros lost to Denver yesterday. The Rockies beat the Astros 9-1. The Astros take the night off, play the Mariners in Seattle tomorrow night. Partly sunny today, a slight chance of thunderstorms, the high of around 80. Mostly cloudy tonight, the low down to 69. Then tomorrow, showers very likely. The high expected to be around 80. 72 at the University of Houston. I'm Jack Williams, News 88.7.
This is Houston Matters. I'm Michael Haggerty in today for Craig Cohen. Thanks for joining us here on News 88.7 and on Houston Public Media's YouTube channel. Coming up this hour, what it takes to run a restaurant in Houston these days, and a performance this weekend from the Houston Chamber Choir explores how music can be used for healing and pays homage to Houston's medical community. But first, you can have an impact on the future of Houston Matters simply by becoming involved. You're already doing part of it. You're listening or tuning in on YouTube today. Now please donate to keep conversations about all the different things we're going to talk about today front and center, so our community always has a place to turn for reliable information. Give now to help us unlock that $30,000 challenge we've been talking about throughout the morning. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate is where you can go, or you can call us at 888-909-0887. I'm here this morning with someone you recognize from our newscasts throughout the mornings on a typical day, Matt Harrop. Good morning.
Good morning, Michael. Yeah, a group of Houston Public Media donors is ready right now to give Houston Public Media $30,000, but we need to have 500 total gifts by the end of the day, and I'll just give you an update. We were hoping to get to needing 300 by the start of Houston Matters, and we're right there, Michael. 304 gifts is now where we are for what we need to unlock that $30,000. If enough people give, we're able to get it, and that hinges on your participation. Keep Houston Matters going. Keep Houston Public Media going. Local news, state news, international news, national news. You get it all right here on News 88.7. So 888-909-0887 or head over to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate.
You know, the news that you hear every single time you tune into Houston Public Media and Houston Matters, it unpacks complicated events. Here in a few minutes, we're going to explain the new ordinance that was passed in City Council yesterday related to how HPD interacts with ICE. Other stories we hear across Texas, courtesy of our partners in the Texas newsroom. Stories around the world from the Mideast, the war in Iran, of course, plenty of coverage lately. It's all right here. It's a place for you to go to get answers, to understand the things that are happening in your world, and even right here in your own community, thanks to local people like Matt that are working these stories and covering them. You sustain them. You make all of this possible with your contribution. Give now and be part of unlocking that $30,000 that'll bring more news and conversations like we're going to have this hour right back to you. It all benefits you. Without listener donations, Houston Public Media wouldn't be here, so please make that important gift now at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate, or you can call us at 888-909-0887.
Yeah, local public news organizations are some of the last local news outlets in some places. The work we do here is crucial to a democracy and a healthy economy. Look, you have a right to information. You have a right to accurate information, and you can do something to help strengthen and preserve the news that you hear. Please give at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate. Take a part in this challenge. We're trying to unlock $30,000 here by 7 p.m. tonight with 500 total donations. We're at 300 right now. So 200 people have already given in these first 4 hours hours here that we've started the campaign, so we certainly thank you for that. Let's keep it going. 888-909-0887 or head over to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate.
And a reminder, we're now fully community funded. That means we rely more heavily on your donation. Your gift holds even more power. Your monthly donation holds greater impact, man.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And we certainly thank you for your gifts. Look, Houston Public Media's news doesn't take shortcuts, sensationalize, or confuse. We bring you the vital information that matters to you. Your donation right now keeps the lights on. It keeps our journalists searching for answers for you, and it keeps our world connected. So head over to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate.
And remember, again, your gift now will help us unlock that $30,000, that extra money, a gift from a group of current donors. We only have today to make this happen till 7 p.m. So now is the time, the biggest challenge in station history. So just go to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call us at 888-909-0887. Any contribution in any amount gets us one step closer to unlocking that extra $30,000. We'll check back in with Matt here a little later in the program. For now, Matt, thanks so much.
Thank you.
As Houston Public Media's Dominic Anthony Walsh reported yesterday, in a 12-5 vote, the Houston City Council has approved an ordinance intended to cut back on coordination between the Houston Police Department and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. Councilmember Alejandra Salinas spearheaded the ordinance with support from fellow council members Abby Kamen and Edward Pollard. And she joins us now with details. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Thank you for being here. Okay, just help us understand, what exactly does this ordinance do?
So this ordinance has two provisions. The first is essentially a codification of the Fourth Amendment, which says that when someone is pulled over and the lawful purpose of that stop ends, the stop has to end. And officers cannot wait around for some indeterminate amount of time for ICE to arrive. It's just following the Fourth Amendment. And so if an individual gets pulled over for a broken taillight, once the officer issues that ticket for the taillight, just like they would in any other encounter, the individual has to let go. And then the second piece is rebuilding trust through transparency, having regular quarterly public reporting from HPD about how often they interact with ICE, how often are they calling ICE, what are the stops about, how long are the stops, are they handing someone over to ICE, basic public information. And both of these provisions are things that other Texas jurisdictions have already adopted. I was so proud to see the Houston City Council adopted yesterday. It's a great step in the right direction. It really is a response to the community. This ordinance was backed by more than 50 community organizations, labor leaders, civil rights groups, immigrants groups, faith leaders. All these groups in the community came together because they wanted to see City Council act, and that's exactly what we did yesterday.
I know you've talked about this plenty in the previous weeks leading up to this, but I mean, why did you and your fellow council members want to push this ordinance forward?
Well, we were responding to what we were hearing from Houstonians. I just got elected a few months ago, and on the campaign trail, I heard again and again and again the fear and concern in community about what was going on with ICE. And obviously, as a city council, we can't control what the federal government does, but we can control how our local resources are being used to support ICE operations. And while we are under a state law that prohibits us from taking more action, this is the action we were able to take under the law, and I'm proud of the council for doing so. There's still more work to be done. One of the provisions in our originally proposed ordinance was struck down by the city attorney, and we intend to challenge that decision vigorously. And I hope that he will reconsider and be able to have a vote on that part of the ordinance as well. But yesterday was a great step forward, and it spoke to the power of Proposition A. You know, in 2023, voters empowered the city council members to put items on the agenda, and that's exactly what we did. And we built that support through community support, organizing on the ground level, and we were able to accomplish something. So I think yesterday was a testament to democracy at work at the local level.
Yeah, for folks who are following along, I mean, prior to that passing in 2023, only the mayor could put items on the council agenda. And now, because of that, this was the first time, I believe, right, that council members put something like this on the agenda to vote on, if I'm not mistaken?
No, there's been numerous Proposition A's before. I think this one is of notable interest to the community given the subject matter. But my council member Pollard, who's one of the co-signers, has championed numerous Proposition A's before successfully, and I know that our council is ready to push forth a number of additional issues.
The Houston Police Officers Union, as you mentioned, or as we've heard, has opposed the measure, as did ICE. In a statement, some of the city council members who voted against the ordinance said They feared it would have, quote, unintended and harmful consequences for Houston. Their statement they issued said, "We are particularly concerned that placing a national spotlight on our city will create unsafe situations for our community and exacerbate the pressure placed on law enforcement." The statement also expressed concern the ordinance didn't provide officers with clear guidance on timeframes to wait for ICE and would make officers afraid to do their jobs. That statement was signed by council members Amy Peck, Willie Davis, Fred Flickinger, Twyla Carter, and Mary Nan Huffman. What's your reaction to those concerns?
Well, I have the utmost respect for my colleagues, but I respectfully disagree. This ordinance sets forth very clear parameters for what an HPD officer should do in an interaction with someone who may have an administrative warrant. It says to continue the stop exactly as you would for any other individual, and once you issue that ticket, just like you would for any other individual, you let them go. It's very clear, and other jurisdictions have adopted this without any issue. And I would say the Houston Police Officers Union, I offered to meet with them. I said, give me a call. Happy to answer any questions. They never took me up on that offer. But we had extensive discussions with the Houston Police Department. We have no concerns about the ability to implement this effectively. And as to the national spotlight, the spotlight is on Houston already. There are families being broken up by ICE all across the city. This is not a city that is immune from what we were seeing across the country. We're just acknowledging that reality and trying to do our part to ensure that if we're going to cooperate with ICE, as we're required to do under state law, that we not do more than what we have to under state law, just like other major jurisdictions in Texas have acted.
Any concern that the state or federal government might bring more attention to Houston, that this might bring more attention and response from those jurisdictions, those agencies, that we might see, more crackdowns like we saw in immigrants in Minnesota in recent months?
I don't think I can speak for what Greg Abbott or Donald Trump may do, but again, I would say other major cities in Texas have taken the exact same action without the repercussions that we have been warned of. And so I don't see any reason why Houston should be treated any differently.
You mentioned the Police Officers Union. Mayor John Whitmire supported this ordinance and has since the Police Officers Union has since withdrawn their endorsement of the mayor. Any thoughts or reactions to that development?
I'm not sure I understand why you would take away the support of someone who did the right thing yesterday.
This is Houston Matters. I'm Michael Haggerty talking with Alejandra Salinas, the city council member of at-large District 4. There were two parts, as you mentioned, that passed on Wednesday, and that third element that the city attorney deemed that was possibly unlawful and might bring lawsuits, so that was removed. What was that third move, that part of that ordinance that you wanted to move for?
Yes, so the original ordinance included a provision that empowered HPD officers to have the discretion on whether or not they would call ICE on administrative warrants. So when you encounter an HPD officer and they run a background check on you and there's something in the system related to ICE, there can be one of two things. There can be a criminal warrant, which is signed by a federal judge, goes through a probable cause assessment. Again, a third party is verifying that there's sufficient cause to detain or search an individual. Or there's an administrative warrant hit. And when they see on the system, it'll say criminal warrant or administrative warrant. An administrative warrant is not signed by a judge. It does not undergo any third-party review. It is just a form that an ICE officer can fill out and say, at minimum, that I check a box and there is some reliable evidence that this person is here without proper status. Filling out that form allows them to input an administrative warrant into the system. And given that huge disparity between a criminal warrant and an administrative warrant, particularly by ICE, other major Texas jurisdictions have taken action to empower their officers to have discretion on whether or not they're going to call. And that's exactly what the first part of the original provision would have done. When we announced the provision, we stood side by side with ACLU and Texas Civil Rights Project, who proudly said this provision was legal. And we continue to believe that it's legal because SB 4 says that you cannot materially limit immigration enforcement. It does not say you cannot create discretion, which is why the other major Texas jurisdictions that have passed this have not faced repercussions. And so we are going to vigorously fight the city attorney's opinion. We believe it is wrong, and we strongly hope he will reconsider because no one unelected official should have a one-man veto over the will of the people. And that's exactly what's happening right now at City Hall.
So the city attorney weighs in on thoughts on that, and then are you bound as the city council to follow that opinion, and what are your thoughts on that as far as city attorney's not a legally or not an elected official? He serves in another capacity. So what are your thoughts on that and the power that he or she may wield in that position?
Well, I think so. The reason why the city attorney has that power is because following the passage of Proposition A, City Council adopted Rules 23 and 24 as to how Proposition A would work. And one of the rules City Council adopted was this lawfulness review that said the city attorney would undertake this review and effectively have this veto. Now that we're seeing how this is playing out, I think we need to seriously reconsider those rules and evaluate whether this is the most effective and most democratic way to implement what the voters passed by passing Proposition A.
How are you and your fellow advocates for these changes on the council going to try to pursue or move forward with that discretion element being reinstated somehow and maybe brought into city ordinance?
Well, as folks may have heard yesterday, I called on the mayor to convene a special hearing on the administrative warrant piece. There's obviously a lot of questions from my colleagues to understand exactly what it means. And so I think we need to have more public discussion, but this proposed ordinance should go for a vote. It should go for a debate. There should be an opportunity for myself and my colleagues to weigh the reasons why it would be good or bad policy for the city. It shouldn't just be stopped by a memo by an unelected official.
Alejandra Salinas represents the 4th at-large position on Houston City Council. Councilmember, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Still ahead this hour, what it takes to run a restaurant in Houston these days, and the healing power of music. Stay with us as Houston Matters continues on News 88.7 and YouTube.
You count on Houston Public Media. That's why you're here right now. Take the next step and become a new member today. Every gift makes a difference. And with a gift of $5 a month or more, you'll receive PBS Passport, a member benefit that lets you stream more of the shows you love anytime. It only takes a minute to make a big difference. Join as a new member today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
Like you, and from Baylor College of Medicine. Baylor's work centers on advancing health and medicine through research, education, and patient care.
Support comes from the Houston Symphony, presenting Adams Conducts Adams and Appalachian Spring, welcoming composer and conductor John Adams and music of Aaron Copeland. April 18th and 19th at Jones Hall. Tickets at houstonsymphony.org.
This is Houston Matters. I'm Michael Haggerty, in today for Craig Cohen. The conversations you're hearing today are fully powered by you. There's no other way to put it. And when you think about it that way, it becomes clear that your support right now, while we're asking, is really important to keeping Greater Houston connected and informed. Please give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or give us a call at 888-909-0887. I'm here this morning all hour with Matt Harem.
Hey, Michael, how's it going? Look, we are excited because this is the last day of our $30,000 challenge. We only have until 7 p.m. to unlock this money from a group of current donors. Please give now. You can head on over to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate to do that. You know, hearing from you now is absolutely necessary because we are now 100% community funded. That conversation you just heard with Alejandra Salinas on a very important, timely issue regarding HPD and cooperation with ICE, that is all happening because of you. It happens because of Houston Matters, and Houston Matters is supported by you. So head on over to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate right now or call 888-909-0887 and keep conversations like you just heard going, Michael.
Yeah, and think about it. Your contribution, whatever the amount, could actually be worth an extra $30,000 for Houston Public Media. We've never seen this before. This is the biggest unlock challenge we've ever had. So if you're thinking, hey, I can't give much, well, it doesn't matter. It all adds up, and it can even result in $30,000 going toward the news that you'll power, the investigations, the arts and culture coverage that you'll power with that contribution in any amount. And it'll get us even more money, that additional $30,000 that will be used for more news and more conversations here on Houston Matters. Give right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call us 888-909-0887.
We're now at 294 gifts needed to unlock that $30,000. Let's get to 250 by the end of the hour. What do you think? 35 more minutes to get that amount of gifts. You know, when you support Houston Public Media, you are stabilizing the most fragile part of journalism, the local neighborhood news. That's what we talk about. We just had a Houston City Council member in here. Local news about your neighborhood and your community, that's becoming increasingly more difficult to find. But if you come here to HoustonPublicMedia.org, on our YouTube page, if you're listening on the radio, however you may be listening, that's the other thing about Houston Public Media. We're a multi-platformed media organization. We meet you where you're at. And that's what your support means. We have that flexibility and the freedom to bring you the news that you need where you are. So give monthly at HoustonPublicMedia.org. For Studio Society members, it's $125 a month, $5, $10 a month. It all adds up. It all matters. 888-909-0887.
We are 100% funded by our community, and that is so important and means your contribution matters even more than ever. You're supporting coverage that might be suppressed elsewhere. We bring you this news because that's what journalism is, of course, facts that are unfiltered and honest. Your steady support protects independent reporting that keeps our community informed and holds power accountable. We just had a council member in, as Matt said. We'll have other leaders in every single day on this show. Give now to support news coverage and conversation with these people in power in your community and beyond. Give monthly at HoustonPublicMedia.org if you can, or call 888-909-0887.
Yeah, your donation carries even more weight right now, but it is conditional on us meeting the goal of 7 p.m. tonight, unlocking that $30,000. We're at 294 right now. We're trying to get to 250 over the course of the next 35 minutes. It all hinges on your participation, so please give at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887 and help sustain Houston Public Media.
You know, Houston Public Media contributes to your life in so many ways, whether it's just the hourly news updates or the longer form conversations on Houston Matters or the entertaining shows on the weekends. Donate if you've never given before and give back to something that gives you so much. All it takes is maybe $5, $10, $20 a month, whatever you're able to give. Just go now to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call us at 888-909-0887. You know, Houston Public Media, it serves all of Greater Houston with this mission to educate, to inform, and uplift our community. We're your trusted news voice for news and culture. And we're powered by people like you. Again, when you contribute, you're making an investment in the future of this source for news and information at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call us 888-909-0887. Just ahead, what it takes to run a restaurant in Greater Houston these days, as Houston Matters continues on News 88.7 and on YouTube.
Right now, this station runs.
It's not just your car. It's the one that brought your kids home from school, took you cross-country, held memories, laughter, even a few breakdowns. When it's time to let go, give your car a new purpose. Donate it and turn memories into meaningful support for this station. Plus, you'll enjoy free and easy pickup, potential tax benefits, and a simple donation process. Your gift supports the programs you and your family love. Donate today and help keep public media strong. Call or donate online.
The Hello Houston podcast. We have the full version of our show and a commuter cut, which is around 40 minutes.
It's Hello Houston, giving you full access to our show 24/7. For more info, check out the Hello Houston page at HoustonPublicMedia.org.
Houston Public Media is licensed to the University of Houston system, governed by the UH Board of Regents. Information about open meetings, dates, times, and locations is online at uhsystem.edu.
This is Houston Matters. I'm Michael Haggerty. Restaurants are more than just places to eat. They're also cultural hubs, small businesses, and anchors in their communities. But behind the scenes, restaurant owners are often facing mounting challenges, from rising ingredient costs to shrinking profit margins to the pressure to maintain a constant presence on social media. At the same time, diners' expectations are changing, influencing everything from menus to service styles to representation. To talk about what it's like to run a restaurant in Greater Houston these days, we're joined now by Evelyn Garcia, chef and co-owner of the restaurants June, Third Place, and Kin HTX, and also Warren Luckett, who's the founder of Black Restaurant Week. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And we welcome your questions and comments at 713-440-8870 or email talk@houstonmatters.org. Or you can also comment on the live stream on our YouTube channel. Evan, I'll start with you. How would you describe things right now? What are things like running restaurants lately in Houston?
Expensive. It's always been hard to run a restaurant, right? It's always you have to be in it for the right reasons. You got to thoroughly enjoy what you're doing. It takes a lot mentally, physically, and to not only build a team, but to build a community that knows that they're going to be coming in and having a good time in your restaurant. So it's a lot of moving parts, and cost has always been a big part of that. And right now it fluctuates like daily. Obviously we see that with gas prices, but we see that like every invoice that's coming in every day. Limes are like $100 a case right now. You're like, what? You're like, last week it was like 60, which was already steep. So it's hard to try to manage that line, not only with pricing and costing, but also like how do we, unfortunately, moving on to the gas, right? So like, it's not only about the food, but it's service. Where do people find the value? And how do you feel like, in a way, as an owner, it's just like, okay, I don't want to be like gouging, but also how to keep my costs, at that 2-3% profit that it is already.
Already thin.
Mm-hmm.
Warren, what do you hear from the restaurants that are involved in Black Restaurant Week?
Well, I think it's been very similar just across the board. A lot of the restaurants are struggling with the rising food costs, right? And it has had a detrimental impact on the revenue across the board. I think when you look at the rising food costs as well as some of the staff shortages that have not turned around even since the pandemic, these restaurants are continuing to face an uphill battle in the culinary space. But what we do know is they've always been just a pillar of our community, the backbones of our community, and the support has to continue to be there from the community to make sure that these restaurants continue to thrive.
Have either of you noticed any changes, whether in the last few weeks or recent months, that as costs have gone up and things, any anecdotal evidence that, hey, people are going out to eat less, or any sort of difference there?
I was like,
well said, yeah.
I know, it kind of goes in waves. I think, of course, like, we're kind of in the beginning of the year. Everybody's kind of like a little bit more thoughtful, and especially after holidays and stuff. So I think we're kind of used to that wave. I think for us as restaurants, it's really just thinking about, like, is our food and service high enough as quality that people won't feel like, oh, this is out of my way because it's going to cost me this so much. I mean, overall, eating out is a sort of luxury, right? It doesn't matter if you're eating at a fast food restaurant or casual, it all adds up. And of course, at the end of the day, eating at home is a lot more cheaper. It's less convenient. So going out, it has to be a thing, right? It's hard for it to just be like, I go out every night. So for us, I think as a operator, it's just like, how do we make this special? And for them to be like, okay, this is a fine thing for me to, put down as a thing I do every month or week or whatnot. So it has to be that much thoughtful, I think, for us.
And I say, just echoing off of that, Evelyn, I feel like consumers are more intentional than ever, right? Mm-hmm. Because, household margins, household budgets are tight. Folks will go out to eat for a special occasion, right? The birthdays, the graduations, but the margin of error for restaurants has continued to decrease, right? So if they have a bad experience, they're a lot less likely to want to come back or give you that second chance when they're going out a lot less. And so I think it's caused a lot of the restaurants to have to continue to step their game up and continue to execute at a high level to continue to keep that demand.
You mentioned, Warren, the staff shortages and things like that the restaurants struggle to keep people. Take a deep breath.
Yes,
yeah,
I know. It's rough.
What are some of the? Do you think some of the causes or the things driving that sort of thing?
One, I mean, just the cost of living.
Yeah.
Right. As a restaurant, we have this is how much we can spend on labor, and we need to start paying more hourly, which is understandable. It's just expensive to live. And at the end of the day, it's just okay, how can we all wear multiple hats so we can still pay fair? But at the end of the day, we need to cover all our bases. But, we're it's the same amount of money coming in.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot of, we all wear a lot of different hats, not as just an operator, but as servers and cooks. And, I feel like there's even less restaurants that you go in and there's an army of people. It's we can't afford that anymore. We can't afford just someone to run food and that's all they do, So it's rough. And now we kind of rely on training, right, to kind of be able to kind of level that off.
And you always, as a chef and someone in a service industry, restaurateurs are always trying to, like you said, in addition to focusing on having good food and giving people a good experience so they'll come back. On top of all that, now you've got the extra pressures of, social media and trying to avoid that bad Yelp review, and is your food, Instagram worthy, and making the restaurant look great, and so that it looks good in a photo, and people want to go there and all that. How do you manage all that on top of everything else?
I mean, it's you just got to add it onto your list.
You just do.
Yeah, I mean, we are in a world that people eat with their eyes first. And I mean, not only just going into your space, it's how do we get them into the space first? And social media, people rely on a lot in that because they're I could get to see the vibe before I go and spend my money, right? And again, we're going back to being thoughtful of where I spend my money. And then it's a lot, and then it's very fast, and it's very quick, and then you're just flipping and sliding and 30-second videos. It's a lot to try to keep up with, but it is very important to the business model of what a restaurant is now. So we have to I just keep on going.
Yeah, and it's particularly about those influencers. I do think it is important to note that, while they definitely do have a place, an important place in the culinary community, just like so much of what else is going on in the world, it's so important that we find our information from multiple sources rather than just one source, right? It might be great that you follow this particular influencer, but they may have reasons why or why not they may be giving a positive or negative review. So I would just say make sure that you are considering, other editorials or other sources of information as you decide what dining establishment that you want to go to, if you use, the public for your choices. So.
Absolutely.
Warren, Black Restaurant Week is more than a week. It's in its 11th year. It's currently underway, running through April 19th. For those folks who are unfamiliar, just explain what it is.
Yeah, so Black Restaurant Week is just a celebration of culinary cuisine from across the African diaspora. And so this year we have over 60 participating restaurants, and our goal is just to showcase the diversity from our community. And so all these amazing restaurants are offering different types of specials, and so we're just encouraging the community to come out and try something different. If you like vegan food, we've got folks like Meek's Vegan Pizza doing some amazing thing on the vegan side. We've got Day and Night doing a 24-hour brunch. We've even got Moonlight Miso doing a fun take on ramen. And so it just truly does showcase the diversity of food here in Houston.
I imagine Black-owned restaurants, they obviously face all those same challenges we talked about, from cost to staffing and everything else. But, are there any other particular challenges that maybe affect them more so?
Well, I think we were hitting on it just a bit as we were talking about the influence of the influencer community, right? And I think our community does tend to lean into the influencers a little bit more. So just, again, making sure that we are diversifying how we get our news and our information, our ratings for these restaurants.
And Evelyn, as a chef and business owner, dealing with all that stuff that you've got to balance, what do you wish that customers knew or understood better when they sit down to eat at one of your establishments?
You're like, how much work just went into that for your 2-hour meal?
And you pick it apart for one little mistake or something.
Yeah, and it's challenging as a restaurant. Obviously, we wish every experience was perfect and everything aligned and the stars aligned and the service and the food. So then there's hiccups. We're all human. So it's hard to kind of just like relay that information. It's like, I'm absolutely sorry if this wasn't up to par or something, but it is just like, give us another shot, right? And it's hard because for us, essentially, it's like we have to get it perfect on that first try so then they can, because everything, obviously social media is great and all, but like nothing is as strong as word of mouth, right? So if you have a great experience, you will tell your friends, your family, and then you come in, obviously with friends and family, but then they know, well, so-and-so told me that this was great. So it is very, stressful to just know that you have to hit it on that first time, especially if it's their first experience. And then, how do you define a good restaurant is having that same service and food every time you go in, right? And that's what qualifies. To me, it's what qualifies a great restaurant. It's just like, I know what I'm getting. It's going to be great. The staff is going to be helpful and knowledgeable. The food's going to be awesome. And you build that trust with the guest. And once you get them in there, they're like, okay. But what's great, too, is that they become more vocal, too, right? So if they do have like, hey, this was normally not like this, it's great, especially with our regulars. They're like, oh, this was a little off today. And I'm like, thank you for not going to write a review. Yeah. Just letting me know personally. And especially our goal is for you to have a good time, right? So if there is a hiccup, tell us immediately. We want to fix this. Like, I don't want you to have a shitty day. We can't control anything outside our restaurant, but we can control this. So if something is wrong, please tell me immediately. I think that would be the number one, right? Please tell me immediately, because we want you to have a good time and we want to take care of it. Instead of like, that was a straw and I'm just going to have a shitty rest of my dinner and then I'm going to go and hit Yelp and I'm just going to go in. I was just like, you could have just told me. It would have taken 2 seconds.
Have some grace for these folks, people. Chef Evelyn Garcia is the owner of June, third place in Kin HTX. And Warren Luckett is the founder of Black Restaurant Week, which is in its 11th year and underway now, running through April 19th. Thank you both for talking with me.
Of course.
Thank you
so much.
Still ahead this hour on Houston Matters, an upcoming performance from the Houston Chamber Choir explores how music can be used for healing. Thank you for listening to Houston Matters here on Houston Public Media, News 88.7. Every time you listen to the station, you hear something unexpected. You hear conversations about what's happening in our community, from arts and culture, like we just heard, to the news and politics and around the world and so much more. It's offering you new perspective and understanding of your community and world. We are here trying to serve you here in our first year operating without federal funding. Speaking of challenges that are new to organizations in the city, it means Houston Public Media is now completely reliant on you, our community, for support. That's why we're turning to you right now during this important fundraiser, our first of 2026. Give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887. I'm here with Matt Harrod.
Good morning, Michael. Yeah, one of the things I love about Houston Matters is, as a news guy, we cover the news, we analyze the news, but then we have conversations like we just had where we bring the community together and talk about what matters to Houston, and Houston restaurants matter to Houston. And here's something that's going to give us here at Houston Public Media a much-needed boost. Today is our deadline to hear from enough people to unlock a $30,000 donation from a group of current donors. And we don't have much time left. We need to meet that goal by 7 p.m. tonight. Now is the time to give. Have it on over to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
All the news, all the shows, the conversations on Houston Matters are here only because this community wants them there, because you want them there. You're tuned in right now. And because you are with us, you understand the value of this independent journalism. So, it benefits our community, and that includes you. So, give whatever you're able to do right now, houstonpublicmedia.org/donate. Phone number again, 888-909-0887.
Your gift today helps to shine a light on the truth. Some of the things we're working on today. Our education reporter, Bianca Seward, is going to be at a Houston ISD board meeting tonight, a crucial board meeting. You know, all of this local news, it ensures that everyone has access to information without a paywall. That's one of the things here at Houston Public Media we try to thrive on. So please sign up to give monthly, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month. If you want to become a member of our Studio Society, that's $125 a month to really keep building for the future of Houston Public Media. Give monthly, houstonpublicmedia.org, or call 888-909-0887.
You're making a choice now that will affect others around you and yourself as well. You're going to decide whether or not to donate. By choosing to donate and support Houston Matters, it means more people around you will get to hear conversations with local restaurateurs or conversations with elected officials like we heard earlier in the hour, and have a greater ability to make choices that reflect their values. And in turn, that'll all affect more people around our community. Choose to donate now and make your mark on independent news and Greater Houston by giving monthly at houstonpublicmedia.org or 888-909-0887.
And again, today is a great day to do it. The final day of our exciting $30,000 Unlock Challenge is going on right now. We need even greater support from you, the community right now, and a group of donors who have stepped up over and over again, this time offering $30,000. But again, we need to do it by 7 p.m. tonight, get to 500 people. We're just under 290 right now. We were hoping to get to 250 by the end of the show, so 15 more minutes. Hopefully we can get 30 to 35 more gifts. And you can do that by dialing 888-909-0887.
And we're so grateful to every member of our station. When you give $1,200 or more each year, that's $100 a month, you'll make a big impact and join our Studio Society. Because you've benefited from the journalism and programming on this station, now is your chance to invest in it. Make your gift and make a difference. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate. Or again, it's 888-909-0887. You know, Houston Public Media's mission is simple: to serve our community with trusted news, education, and culture. That's you we're serving. And today that mission reaches you on air, online, on your phone, wherever you stream, on YouTube. It's all free because of listener support. When you give, you keep this public service accessible to 7.8 million people across Greater Houston. Make your gift now, houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887. And thanks.
Houston, time is running out.
We know you value Houston Public Media. That's why you're watching right now. So take the next step and become a new member of the station you rely on. Every gift makes a difference. And what matters most right now is supporting the station that brings you the news and information you rely on. It only takes a minute to make a big difference. So join as a new member today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
Improvements intended to serve Houston after the final match. Metro provides bus, rail, and paratransit service and continues mobility enhancements across the region. More at ridemetro.org/Metro Now.
Support comes from the Houston Symphony, presenting Adams Conducts Adams and Appalachian Spring, welcoming composer and conductor John Adams and music of Aaron Copeland. April 18th and 19th at Jones Hall. Tickets at houstonsymphony.org.
Music can be a powerful tool for dealing with grief. Take, for instance, composer Eric Whitaker's The Sacred Veil. It's a work he wrote with longtime collaborator and librettist Charles Anthony Silvestri, honoring Silvestri's late wife, Julie. An excerpt there from Eric Whitaker's The Sacred Veil, performed there by Voces 8. That piece will be among The featured music and an upcoming performance from the Houston Chamber Choir in collaboration with St. Luke's United Methodist Church, celebrating the healing power of music and saluting Houston's medical community. Daisy Fancourt is a British scientist and a researcher who focuses on the effects of social factors on health, including engagement with the arts, and she'll be visiting for a pre-concert lecture at this weekend's performance. She spoke with Houston Matters producer Joshua Zinn about what research can tell us about how music and the arts affect our health.
Honestly, over the last couple of decades, the science on this has absolutely exploded. So we now have so much neuroscience, so data from neuroimaging showing what's happening in the brain, how different brain regions are talking to one another when we engage in the arts. We also have a lot of biological data, which is what I specialize in. So we can see how arts engagement affects our stress hormones and also affects our immune function, things like levels of inflammation in our bodies. We can also see how arts engagement even affects the expression of our genes, so affecting deep-seated biological building blocks of our health. And of course, we also have many other tools, from heart rate monitors to behavioral monitors to questionnaires that we can ask people and videotapes we can take, so we can see this whole three-dimensional picture of the impact the arts have on us.
Yeah, and so you're coming to Houston to participate in this Houston Chamber Choir concert. You're actually giving a pre-concert lecture ahead of the performance. What are you hoping to talk about during that lecture?
I'm planning to share some of the really amazing science that's come out, because actually, if you talk to most people, they'll instinctively say that they feel the arts relax them or make them happier or support them. But actually, many people aren't aware about how deep and incredibly rich and rigorous the scientific evidence base is. So I'm really excited to explain this and kind of open the lid on the box of what is happening inside yourself when you engage with the arts. But I'm also excited to share with people how they can use the arts more, how they could actually change the way they engage or increase their levels of engagement to try and maximize the well-being and health benefits that they get from it. And I'm also really excited to celebrate the incredible art scene that you have in Houston, because it's such an inspiration to be able to consider how people can use the arts more and participate more within communities.
Yeah, well, and I'm really glad you talked about that, because that's the next thing I was curious about is what are the practical implications of this research you're doing? How can we engage with the arts and use that to generally improve our health outcomes?
One of the really simple things is to think about the arts a little bit like we think about some of our other health advice, like eating vegetables, getting our 10,000 steps, getting our exercise in. We're all so used to talking about those behaviors and acknowledging that we need to be doing them every single day. But actually, we rarely think about the arts in that way. We often tend to think that the arts are a luxury and something that we should only do if we have enough time available. We often don't prioritize them in the way that we really should for the profound benefits that they bring to us. So I'll be sharing some of the latest behavioral science, which talks about why we might not be engaging as much as we want to and how we can break down those barriers and engage more so that we're really maximizing the benefits and the enjoyment we get from arts experiences.
Dr. Daisy Fancourt there, a professor of psychobiology and epidemiology at University College London. She'll be visiting Houston this weekend to give a pre-concert lecture at a performance by the Houston Chamber Choir and St. Luke's Methodist Church. Joining us now are the artistic director of the choir, Betsy Cook-Weber, and director of music and fine arts for St. Luke's, Sid Davis. Betsy, Sid, welcome to Houston Matters.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. Betsy, how did you land on this collaboration as an idea for a concert?
It's a nexus of serendipity. Todd Frazier, composer and director of the Center for Performing Arts and Medicine at Methodist Hospital, mentioned to me about a year ago that they were celebrating their 30th anniversary, which is quite an accomplishment. And I had been thinking about doing a concert that honors the medical profession. Love The Sacred Veil by Eric Whitaker. Mentioned it to Sid Davis, who works at St. Luke's, the patron saint of physicians. And he asked me if I'd ever heard of Daisy Fancourt. I had not. Sid is friends with Daisy's father and reached out to her agent, talked her into coming on a book tour here to Houston. And so we are performing The Sacred Veil, but we're also performing a world premiere of Todd Frazier's piece, Matthew 25, with the employee hospital choir from Methodist Hospital. So it's just a collaboration on a wonderful high level.
It's a reminder of our big medical community here in this city as well, and they're multifaceted. They're performing musically as well. Sid, you mentioned Dr. Fancourt, and we heard her talk about research into the health benefits of the arts. As music director of a church, is there a spiritual component to this as well, do you think?
Very much. One of the things I'm most proud of is that St. Luke's has a long history, long before I got there, of commitment to music and fine arts as part of who we are as Christians. And Daisy has a new book called Art Cure, which is on Oprah's top 10 list. And when I found out about the book, we've been working on this for a couple of years. So I'm very excited this is all coming together. Daisy's going to be here. She's going to not only speak on Saturday night, but speak again on Sunday night at St. Luke's. So we're very excited.
For either of you or both, when have you personally, you feel like, experienced the healing power of music?
For me, every day. Mm-hmm. And so having read Daisy's book now, it just puts into black and white scientific data what I've always known anecdotally, that for me, if I'm not engaged in music, I will not be happy.
What about you, Sid?
If I had a nickel for every choir member who had said on a Wednesday night, I almost didn't come because I was just so tired at the end of the day, and I feel so much better. And it's spiritual and it's physical, it's scientific. You do feel better after creating art.
Yeah, and it's so powerful sometimes. I feel like after a stressful day or experience, just to listen to something to help you regulate your nervous system, to calm down, to just put you in a different mood. It really is powerful.
100%.
You mentioned the performance features a world premiere from local composer J. Todd Frazier. What is that work about?
It's based on Matthew 25. That's the part in the New Testament where Christ says, I was sick and you took care of me. And then there's a lot of other text there too, but that particular text is what drew Todd to set this. It's beautiful. The Methodist Hospital singers are inspiring. I went out to watch their rehearsal. They rehearse in Weiss Chapel, and they came in from work in their scrubs and office attire. And as they rehearsed in the back of that chapel, employee after employee in scrubs came and they were praying in the back of the room. And I realized that probably often they were praying for their patients. And so it was just enormously moving, and we are so honored to collaborate with those singers.
The Sacred Veil, a performance by the Houston Chamber Choir in tribute to Houston's medical community, and a celebration of the 30th anniversary of the Center for the Performing Arts and Medicine, is Saturday evening at 7:30 at St. Luke's United Methodist Church, where Sid Davis is the Director of Music and Fine Arts, and Betsy Cook-Weber is the Artistic Director for the Houston Chamber Choir. Thank you both for talking with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another reminder of Houston Matters and our coverage of everything from the arts to politics to news and information from all sorts of places. Our show is an example, we believe, of what's possible when our community comes together to support trusted news. We're asking you to help support coverage of the arts and culture and responsible journalism of all sorts here in our spring membership campaign at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887. I'm here this hour with Matt Harrod.
Hello, Michael. Real quickly before we get back into this, the first thing I do when I get off of work, and I get off, around 11:30, get home around 12, is I pick up my guitar and I just play for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and that does. It absolutely, playing music, creating art, as you said, it just makes you feel better. So thank you both for coming in. Conversations like that are brought to you by you. Today is the last day of our $30,000 Unlock Challenge. A group of current donors is offering up a whopping $30,000 if we hear from enough people. And since Houston Public Media is now completely funded by the community, your gift holds even more weight right now. Keep conversations like we just had moving forward into the future. Keep the news that we're just about to hear at the top of the hour continuing. Give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
Houston Public Media, we should start our own little ensemble or choir here with
Matt
on the guitar.
I would love that.
This organization, our main thing, though, is bringing you the news and information. We've been through a lot in the last year. We changed a lot. As you know, we lost federal funding, and that means we're totally reliant on you, the community, to keep the news and information and conversations on Houston Matters going strong. Donate what works for you so that we can continue to serve you, unlock that extra money that we've been talking about all day. Make a contribution, whatever amount you're able to do in support of that at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate. Or by calling 888-909-0887.
And continue supporting the stories that you come to rely on here on Houston Public Media. We've been covering the Artemis II mission being controlled right out of Johnson Space Center here in Houston. That is a story we've been following since the beginning, and we'll be following up until Splashdown coming up tomorrow. Your support is needed even more now because we want to continue covering stories like that now and into the future. And again, today is the last day of our $30,000 challenge. A group of current donors has donated $30,000 if we hear from enough people by the end of the day. And we are approaching the halfway point of what we need, which is great. Give now, houstonpublicmedia.org/donate. Keep this service moving. 888-909-0887.
Through all the changes of the past year or recent years, we've been one constant in your life. Solid news and information on this station through Houston Matters and everyone at Houston Public Media. Support this in our community, in your community, right now. 888-909-0887 or houstonpublicmedia.org.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from listeners like you and from Baylor College.